So let's talk about valuation, because that's now the next piece to understand, and then I'll talk about a little bit of legal structure and documentation. So what is valuation? Just to very quickly put it, it's essentially the worth of the company. It is essentially the dilution that an entrepreneur will go through while raising money. So let's look at some example and terminology which you need to understand. So if 1 crore is getting invested for 20% of the company, what would be the post money of the company? 5 crores, right? And pre money would be 4 crores. So essentially, these are terms because the next few slides will refer to them. Post money means the value of the company after the money is in the company. So your dilution percentage will always get computed on that. So dilution is equal to money raised divided by post money, or they're all related, right? And pre money is the value of the company before the money was in the company.
So when you say valuation, it means after raise.
After the raise, yeah. So quickly, so if it is 1 CR quiz, you wanted a quiz is here. So if it is 1 CR for a 3 CR pre money, what would be post money? 4 CR. And how much will be the dilution? Everybody is comfortable with that?
If founders are putting money earlier, it doesn't matter because the pre-money valuations.
No. Valuation has no linkage to how much founder money has. Unless they are participating in this round, then that money will be counted as the investor money anyway, which typically happens. Generally does not happen, right? So let's put the terminology besides, and now let's look at how does it happen. So I'm going to tell you 3-4 models, but none of these models really give you an answer actually, because there is no math to it. Just to for you to know. So one is called the discounted cash flow method, which is the legally accepted route for a lot of this thing, and it's basically a sort of your CA can do it very easily. It's just a forecast of revenue and expenses, and it sort of discounts the cash flow to the present NAV and then does it. Second method is called cost to recreate method, which essentially means that if this company is at this level, how much will it have to invest to get another company to this level? So that could be a value of the company. Early stage, a lot of these things just don't work, right? But just kind of know. So I'm going to spend time on what works. There is one more called market multiple method, which is a lot more commonly used. It basically means that you can value the company by looking at comparables. The problem in early stages, comparables itself is a problem. So one example could be if I'm doing another job portal, may not be a very good example, just to illustrate the concept. You know Naukri, listed Naukri, you know their revenue, you know their P multiple, right? So that's the valuation. The market cap is the valuation of the company, right? So
nowadays, most of them are 7, 8, 9, 10, 11x of the project.
Correct. So exactly, and those are the ranges that you will see in early stage also. It's 5x, 3x, 8x. But the challenge here is if you're doing a new job portal, I don't know whether it's the right thing to take, but this is the methodology. This method is used more often than others, right? So a lot of VCs use it. It's called exit-based planning. So what you do is, remember this curve is here now, right? And you are getting in at this stage, let's say you are putting 1 CR into the company for the sake of it. You will say, okay, in 5 years, I would like to make a 10x return on this. So I'll have to make 10 CR. Then I will estimate, what is the likely exit of that company in that time frame. Let us say that company will get sold for 100 crores. So to make 10 CR on 100 crores, how much percentage you should own here? 10%. I'm simplifying liquidation preference, a lot of other things I'm simplifying just to illustrate the concept, right? Then you will go back and estimate that between here and here, I may raise 2 or 3 rounds of financing. Okay? And my stake will get diluted by 50%. Right? So how much should I own here? You got it? This is exit based planning. Most of the valuations actually get done by this. Tell me whether we factored any business dynamics in it directly or not. Right? It is all indirect. So I'm estimating how much exit I will get. I'm estimating what is my target, and then and because of this, most of the companies fall into certain brackets, and there is a whole lot of pattern around valuation. Okay? Again, there's nothing like seeing in the market what is happening and then corroborating with theory. These are maybe around 12 startups, which these are real numbers. And I will just explain you 3 charts here to kind of bring out the point, right? So just to explain this chart, this means annual revenue, and that means how much money they raised. So this bullet, for example, is 1 crore money raised, which is a 0 revenue company, correct? And this would be 4 crore revenue, and they raised 3.5 crores, right? Just to understand this chart.
So this is the money raised at the point when the revenue was
Correct. Run rate of the revenue was that.
at that point of time.
Right. This is the pre-monies they got for that raise. Right? So this is a difficult chart to read, because if you are raising 1 crore on a 10 crore pre-money or 9 crore pre-money, how much will your dilution be? 10%. If you are raising 10 crore on a 90 crore pre-money, how much your dilution would be? Still 10%. So what normalizes is the dilution. Pre-money becomes all over the place. So this is the data on the valuation. Do you see a pattern in this? So let us also see what kind of round sizes are these. Minimum is 75 lakhs here, and maximum is around 4 crores. So in our definition, it falls into that angel round. है ना? Correct? What is the pattern you see? Most of the bullets are within 20 and 30%. एक दो बाहर है. Correct? Why is this like this? Because of the exit based planning. All these fall into a pattern. Okay?
So you're saying 20 to 30% dilution happens from,
Yeah.
from the time you angel invest to exit.
No. What I'm saying is, for that round you may, so this was only for 12 points. What I did is I kind of extrapolated this on either side with some more data points. So these are the typical dilutions you are seeing on the deals. Each stage. And I'll answer your question also, it's the next slide. So at the seed round, where you're raising 5, 25, maybe 50, 5 to 15% is a fair range. Similarly, in the next stage, 10 to 30% is a fair range. 25 to 30, 40% is a fair range in a Series A. Yeah, so right here. Right here. So this is, remember, we are all going to build, because this is my sort of frame of reference for angel investment, this curve, right? You can keep putting data on that and you will still sort of understand this angel investment very well. Okay? Lot of this is corroborated with this, and you will see this. So now you know, when an entrepreneur is coming to you, he is willing to raise 4 crores and he is at a product market fit level and not at business model fit level, and he is asking for 5% dilution, you know there is something wrong. So look at those broad ranges and then sort of determine. No, it will be still in the same range, 25 to 40%.
You're talking about all the syndicated agents.
It's for the round, yes.
It is one person or
It's for the round, exactly. Yeah. These patterns hold. Now within that range, you have a play area on the money and on the dilution. Why these patterns hold is because there is a general life cycle that a startup goes through, right? So this, to answer your question, Utkarsh and Shubhendu, this is a real case actually, right? Okay, there is some minor thing, I keep noting it down to correct it, but I forget it by the time my next workshop comes around, is that, so basically founders started with 100%, right? How many rounds of financing they have done? How many rounds? 3. Seed, VC round, second VC round. You can call them Series A, Series B if you like, right? So they, typically what happens is this ESOP pool gets associated with the round, but just to illustrate, it has been separated out, right? So don't get confused by that. But essentially 100% dilution, let's say you take the 10% out, so you are at 90% now, 24% gone in the round, right? So you dilute to 68.4%, and your ESOP pool now dilutes to 7.6%. Then you realize that you need more pool, right? Because I need to hire more people, so you create another pool, right? And then you raise another round, and therefore. Typically what happens is this pool creation gets, it is done at the same time as the round of financing, typically. But we've had cases in my previous startup also, we had a case where we ran out of the pool in the middle. So we had to create a pool because we had to hire a senior guy. And then it was not linked with the round. So this is like a more generic case, but typically you will see bunching. So there is a pattern, right? In 3 rounds of financing, typically you will get down to 30-40% the founders.
if there are 4 founders, it's all
वो उसी में, yeah, it's a sub thing. Therefore, if this whole model has to work, there is some minimum threshold of what you will hold at certain point. Therefore, these patterns hold. Therefore, those valuations hold on those stages. So that is the linkage of this whole thing. Okay. So I've seen a lot of time that your business is not doing good, therefore I'm going to give you 4 crores, but I'm going to take more dilution. There's nothing wrong in that argument, but beyond a range, you will actually not doing a favor to the entrepreneur also and yourself. Whatever is not in favor of the entrepreneur will not be in your favor as well, because somewhere it will break.
So as an average at the IPO time or at least after Series C or D, the founders restricted to 18-20%?
Yeah, it can actually go even lower than that. Yeah.
Create a additional ESOP
Hmm.
everybody gets that.
Every time you take anything out, everybody will dilute. Unless you have signed up some contract with people which says you will never get diluted. Those things also happen. I've seen advisors signing those contracts which are really, really dangerous. Right? Because at the time of IPO, you are still holding 2% of the company, which is very large.
Even at the seed stage, when you value the company at say 20% or 3 on each one product, you are looking to some milestone.
Okay. So this is called tranching. So you have an option of structuring the deal many ways. Single bullet deals are easy to do. Here is the money, here is the percentage, right? Anyway, you are financing the company in early stage for 1 year or 2 years, correct? By the time next round will come around and something has to happen, right? Or you could say, recently I was part of a deal where in 1.5 years there was 3 tranches, which I thought was little hard because every tranche has an extra overhead of money collection and other things, right? But you could link it to milestone, you could link it to time, you could do that.
The more than the time period also. valuation can it alter
Yeah.
the contract?
Yeah, so everything is possible. There are some things called clawback clauses where you could say that, in the next round, if you raise at this valuation, then we will get this much more or this much less or whatever it is. So it is, most of the deals are simple, plain vanilla. This much money, this much equity. But these are all complications over. You could do it.
But Manish,
Yes.
at that stage, between the portfolio and the angel investor,
Ha.
it's really hard to come up with a valuation.
Very, very, very difficult. Very difficult. Very difficult.
So essentially, isn't it mostly based on the VC round you'll be raising this kind of debt convertible, right? When it comes to that point.
Right? So what we talked about so far is about price rounds. Right? In India, convertible debts is not very popular. So I don't cover it much detail. But there is another way of doing this whole thing where you basically defer this problem to the next round. Right? So you say, when you raise your VC round, I will get so much discount based on my investment right now. However, as I said, not very popular in India.